City Council will move into a public hearing. Prior to consideration of the regular agenda items, public hearings are conducted as follows. The President of Council will recognize a representative or a member of the administration to make a presentation. Members of Council will then have the opportunity to make comments and ask questions, and then the President of Council will recognize the public for comments. This public hearing is called to order to receive public comment on the request to acquire an economic development restaurant liquor license from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board for the applicant 1231 Company, Inc. for premises at 1223 West Broad Street, Bethlehem, Lehigh County. And with that, the Chair will recognize Jim Shantz.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Jim Shantz. I'm a legislative aide to State Senator Lisa Boscola, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Dominic and Stefano Lombardo, owners of 123 Inc., with regard to this request that's being made tonight on behalf of Council.
Jim, let me just interrupt. I apologize. Members of Council did receive the information that you provided, and also some information provided by Attorney Spadoni.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. On behalf of Stefano and Dominic Lombardo, I would like to take this time to thank you for the opportunity to appear before you this evening. We are before this esteemed body tonight to request consideration for the privilege to obtain an economic development liquor license from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. The concept, as developed by the LCB, is a fairly new one. Only 23 applications have been considered before the LCB board to date. I would like to take a moment to explain some of the details of this license. Act 141 of 2000 and Act 10 of 2002 amended the Liquor Code to allow the Liquor Control Board to issue a restaurant or an eating place retail dispenser license for the purpose of economic development. The LCB can grant up to 2 licenses per county per year. Before issuing such a license, the LCB has a few basic requirements. Those requirements are as follows. Number 1, a license will be issued when the applicant has demonstrated that he has exhausted reasonable means of acquiring a license in the county. The question is then asked, what constitutes reasonable? Number 2, economic development licenses may only be issued to the premises that are located in an enterprise zone, a keystone opportunity zone, or in a municipality where the municipality has voted to grant the issuance of such a license for the purpose of economic development. And 3, and this is basically the nuts and bolts of what the economic development license, what it curtails and the responsibilities of the licensee. According to section 462, subsection 6, this is a non-transferable license that is issued by the Liquor Control Board with regard to ownership and location. The cost of the application is $50,000, about the same rate as the average transfer was when this legislation was enacted. A possessor of this license cannot turn around and sell this license for a quick profit. The licensee must operate under strict guidelines regarding the percentage of food sales versus alcohol sales. That percentage figure must be maintained at 70% food, 30% alcohol ratio. After a 3-month initial period, if the license is granted by the LCB, they will come in and they will perform an audit. If at that time the licensee is not in compliance, the LCB has the right to pull the license. An annual audit is also performed as well too, and at any time that the licensee is not in compliance, the Liquor Control Board can pull the license back. If the ratio falls below that 70% food mark, the LCB has the right to recall the license. I also want to stress one other thing with regard to transferability as well too. There is basically none for this license. As long as the Lombardos own this license at this location, they will be allowed to operate it as the company owns the license at this location. They cannot turn around, they cannot sell it to another location. The license can never be moved from this location. It's basically a permanent right to have a liquor, it's basically a permanent right for this location to have this license in it as long as it's in operation. With regard to the question of availability and reasonable rates, the city of Bethlehem is in a unique situation. As a city divided into 2 counties, each county has its own unique situation as far as the availability of liquor licenses. These situations are a night and day type of situation. In May of 2004, at a meeting after the primary election, I was before this very body with a request from an applicant for an intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license in Northampton County into Bethlehem. The purchase price at that time was $72,000. 2 years later, the same licensee sold his license for, at that time, what was the current market rate, which was between $125,000 and $150,000. In the 4 years since, that value has dropped back down to between $80,000 and $85,000. Why has this occurred? Part of the fact that Northampton County, Northampton County had anticipated an economic growth along the Route 33 region that never materialized. The proposed Summit Mall complex in Bethlehem Township never materialized. Requests for 12 licenses disappeared with that mall. In fact, the proposed developers were so desperate for licenses that they petitioned the legislature for a change to the liquor code and received it when the legislature passed the mixed-use town center development clause to the liquor code. Sands Casino, as part of its original proposal, also indicated the need for more licenses for their mall portion of the project. This initial demand for licenses caused the current market rate to double in a short time. The lack of licenses being purchased and developed caused the price to shrink. During this license boom, licensees knew that if the right chain also came along, licensees would also knew that they would be able to request this price from the chain and sell their licenses for this asking price. 6 major chains opened in 2004. Today, those requests have all but disappeared. Today in Northampton County, there are 29 restaurant licenses listed in safekeeping lists as provided by the Liquor Control Board. The safekeeping list is a listing of licenses currently not in use by the holder. Reasons that are placed that the licenses are safe in placekeeping include establishments that may have temporarily or permanently closed. By code, any establishment that closes for more than 15 days is required to place their license into safekeeping. And others that are pending opening or further development. Currently, in Northampton County, there are 6 pending transfers, 3 of which are from the safekeeping list. Now we move over to Lehigh County, where the Lombardos are looking to hopefully open their establishment. Lehigh County is a totally different situation. Economic development has not slowed or stopped in Lehigh County. The Whitehall and Macungie areas are still experiencing growth. And Allentown's economic development is beginning to mirror that of what Bethlehem has accomplished in its downtown region. There is a demand for liquor licenses in Lehigh County. When checking the LCB's safekeeping list for Lehigh County, there are only 7 restaurant liquor licenses available, or listed in the safekeeping list, with 3 of those on a pending transfer. The Lombardos have contacted the other remaining licensees to determine if their licenses are available. What they discovered was that a 4th license is being held for a pending sale and currently is not available until such time that their deal is either finalized or dissolved. Currently, the market price for a restaurant liquor license in Lehigh County isn't the $80,000 that we see in Northampton County. It's double that price or more. The starting price for available liquor license in Lehigh County is $160,000 and upwards. This price has dipped slightly, but less than what the dip in Northampton County has been due to the consistency over the past decades of areas of growth in Lehigh County. Lehigh County has not experienced a roller coaster on license prices that Northampton County has. In fact, licenses are in such demand that out of the 23 requests for economic development licenses, 3 have come from the city of Allentown alone. The question is now raised and addressed as to the reasonability of the asking price. Considering the going rate is double the $80,000 sales price of a license in Northampton County and triple that of the $50,000 rate that the economic development license cost, it is very easy to argue that the Lombardos have a difficulty in obtaining a license at a reasonable rate. Many have asked about the possibility of moving a liquor license solely within the boundaries of the city limits. At one time, prior to the changes in the liquor code, liquor licenses could move freely within a city limits, regardless of what county that they sat in. Bethlehem is in a unique situation because it's only one of only 12 municipalities in the Commonwealth that sit in 2 counties. That question was asked of the LCB as a way of saving costs in the project. The following response was returned from Rod Diaz, Deputy Chief Counsel for the Liquor Control Board. All license requests similar to this would ultimately wind up on his desk for approval. So this is, the question was answered by the man who ultimately would make the final decision as to whether or not a transfer could happen between Bethlehem, Northampton County and Bethlehem, Lehigh County. He wrote in an email the following. This is a follow-up to our conversation involving the above referenced license. The license is currently in the name of Stefano's Restaurant, Inc. for use at 2970 Linden Street, Bethlehem, Northampton County. However, in the 80s, the license was issued at 305 West Broad Street, Bethlehem, Lehigh County. You inquire as to why the license can no longer be transferred to those portions of Bethlehem that are located in Lehigh County. The reason that the license can no longer be transferred to those portions of Bethlehem that are located in Lehigh County is because the legislature amended the liquor code. Specifically, prior to the enactment of Act 141 of 2000, Section 468 of the Liquor Code authorized the board to transfer an existing restaurant liquor license to a new location, so long as the location was in the same municipality. There was no references to counties in this provision, so the fact that Bethlehem was one of numerous municipalities that straddled a county line did not matter. So long as the location was in the same municipality, the license could easily be transferred there. Therefore, it would have been permissible in the 80s, in fact, it would have been permissible as late as 1999, to transfer this license from 305 West Broad Street, Bethlehem, Lehigh County, to 2970 Linden Street, Bethlehem, Northampton County. Act 141 of 2000 changed all this by changing the focus to counties. As currently written, it was modified by Act 155 of 2006. The section states, if the license is a retail license, then the new location must be within the same county as the existing location except for a restaurant liquor license and eating place dispenser license transferred under 461B subsection 4. B61 subsection 4, ironically enough, is the same mixed town use center development that was put into place back into place when this proposed Summit Mall was being discussed. At that time, they were going to move license due to a fear of the lack of available licenses. The liquor code was changed slightly to allow movement of licenses from the city of Philadelphia, the city of a first class, or I should say the county of a first class, into counties of the second class and counties of the third class. The developers of Summit both had projects going, had 3 projects going at that time, 2 in Allegheny County and 1 in Northampton County. As you can see, there is no provision that allows for an intermunicipal transfer in those situations where a municipality straddles a county line. The municipality in which the license is located is irrelevant in determining whether the proposed location is the same county as the current location, and thus transfers that were permissible before are no longer permissible. I realize that this is not the answer that your client would just like to hear, but I hope that I have at least explained the board's position clearly. Let me know if you have any further questions. Sincerely, Rodgo J. Diaz, Executive Deputy Chief Counsel. With the new legislative session beginning shortly, Senator Boscola's office will be introducing legislation that will hopefully amend liquor code that will resolve the situation for Bethlehem and the other municipalities that are currently affected. One of the elements that makes Bethlehem a tremendous place to live and work is the diversity of the economy in our city, with a tremendous role being played by tourism and industry. The Lombardo project is a key to the city's west side business area. Their proposal would take a currently empty structure and change it into a state-of-the-art dining facility, adding 29